AI disrupting education.
Hmm?
It's a bold claim, right?
Yeah.
But when we're talking quality management, the future might be closer than we think. We've got some fascinating insights today from Amnon Margalit. He's a lecturer over at Sami Shamoun College of Engineering in Israel.
Okay.
And he's seen these trends firsthand.
Yeah, and it's not just one person's opinion or anything. There was a 2022 study, actually. I think it was in the U.S. They found that 60%, a full 60% of school administrators, they believe that AI is going to significantly impact education, like within the next decade. So this isn't...
Wow.
Yeah.
60%. That's a tidal wave coming.
It is. It's huge.
Okay. So it's a big deal, but is it hype or is it real? So that's what we're diving into today, how AI could actually revolutionize how we teach and learn quality management.
And what's really interesting here is AI isn't just changing how we learn. It's tackling some of the biggest kind of, pain points, I guess, headaches of quality management education head on. You know those massive quality manuals?
Yeah.
Like the ones that were basically phone books.
There were practically furniture on my desk. It was ridiculous.
Exactly. Margalit's suggesting. Imagine, instead of that, you've got an AI system. And it pulls up exactly the regulation, the standard, whatever you need, when you need it. Tailored to your industry, your project.
Okay, so that would streamline things. No more getting lost in a sea of jargon.
Yeah.
But I don't know, isn't that a big leap for people used to doing things the old way?
Oh, for sure. And it's not just about like finding the info faster. It's the learning itself. Take communication. Imagine students, they're writing reports, which, huge part of quality.
Oh.
But instead of waiting for the professor to get back to them, what if there's an AI chatbot that gives them instant feedback?
Man, I wish I had that in college. I remember you'd pour your heart into a paper then. Nothing, just radio silence for weeks.
Exactly. And that's where AI can be amazing. It's like having a 24/7 quality expert on call, giving you that feedback loop to improve as you go.
Okay, so that is pretty impressive. But instant feedback is one thing. How does AI actually change the quality of what we learn? Let's get into that right after the break. All right, so we're back, and we're really digging into how AI could shake things up in quality management education. It's more than just like faster feedback, right? It's about actually getting better faster.
That's it, yeah. Margalit, he talks about this idea of personalized learning, and it really gets you thinking. Like, imagine this. An AI tutor, right? And it's tracking how you're doing, say, in statistical process control, which are huge in quality, but it figures out where you're specifically struggling, not just using the same material for everybody. It creates exercises just for you.
Okay, so no more of those one-size-fits-all lectures where I'm trying to keep up and the person next to me is, like, asleep because it's too easy.
Exactly. This is tailored to how you learn best.
It's like, what are those language learning apps that adapt as you make mistakes, but for quality management?
You got it. It's about being as efficient, as effective as possible. And it's not just about that individual learning either. Margalit also talks about how AI can really change the game when it comes to data analysis and quality management.
Which makes sense. Because, I mean, quality management is all about the data, right? It's about identifying those trends, seeing those little issues before they become big problems, all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. But think about it. The sheer volume of data that companies are dealing with these days is insane. It's overwhelming for anybody. What Margalit's suggesting is AI can come in, analyze all that information super fast, and then spot those hidden patterns, those quality issues that, might have been missed.
So instead of spending weeks, months, just crunching numbers, quality professionals, they can actually focus on, well, solving the problems that the AI finds. It's like having this superpower assistant who never gets tired.
Exactly. And this isn't just, some far-off thing. This is directly connected to what's already happening in the real world of quality management. Take manufacturing, for example. There are AI systems that are analyzing images from production lines, as they're happening, and they're catching defects before the product even leaves the factory.
Wow. That's
crazy.
That is incredible. But it also kind of makes you think, with AI doing all this, all the heavy lifting, what does that mean for the future of quality management jobs? Are we all going to be out of a job?
Yeah, it's the big question, right?
It is a big question, yeah.
And Margalit addresses that head on, actually. He's saying that while, AI is going to automate certain tasks, like the stuff that's really repetitive or really data heavy, but it also creates a need for a new type of quality professional.
Okay, so not replacing humans, but more like augmenting what we're able to do.
Right, exactly. It's more of a partnership. The AI handles those tedious tasks, goes through all that data, but the humans, they focus on the big picture. strategy, creativity, building relationships, the things that AI just can't do.
Okay, so for someone who's maybe thinking about getting into quality, or even people who are already in it, what are those essential skills that they need to, thrive in this AI world? What should they be learning?
Well, Margalit really emphasizes, both technical and soft skills are going to be crucial. On the technical side, you got to understand the basics of AI, data analytics. Like,
Makes sense.
you need to be able to make sense of what the AI is telling you. You have to be able to trust its recommendations. You have to, speak its language a little bit.
Right. You can't just blindly trust a machine. You need to be able to look at what it's giving you and say, hold on, does this make sense?
Yeah, exactly. You got to be critical. But, and this is where it gets really interesting, those soft skills, the ones that are so hard for AI to replicate, they're becoming even more important now. Things like communication, problem solving, critical thinking, all of that.
Because even if the AI is crunching the numbers, you still need a human to take those insights
Yeah.
and figure out what they mean, and then to actually talk to other people and figure out how to fix the problems.
Yeah, exactly. The human element, it doesn't disappear. It just kind of evolves. But it's like all this talk about a brave new world, new skills, AI partners.
Yeah.
It can be overwhelming for sure.
It's a lot to process. We're talking about preparing for a whole new world, practically. Luckily for us, though, Amnon Margalit, he's got some advice for those of us who are going to be on the front lines of this, the educators and the learners. So let's dive into that after we take a quick break. Okay, so we've talked about the potential, the possibilities of AI in quality management, but let's get practical, yeah? How do we actually prepare for this AI-powered future? What are educators supposed to do? What about the students? Everybody, really?
Well, Margalit, he kind of breaks it down into two main approaches. He calls them proactive and preventative.
Okay, I like that. So it's not just about, jumping on the AI bandwagon. It's about being smart, strategic about this whole shift.
Right.
So tell me more about this proactive side.
So he really stresses that educators, they need to be leading the charge here. And he's not just saying, go learn about AI. He's talking about getting your hands dirty, actually using the tools.
Yeah, you can't learn to swim by reading a book, right? Gotta jump in the pool.
Exactly. He talks about bringing AI-powered simulations into the classroom. Imagine a class on risk assessment.
Yeah.
But the students are using AI tools to model different scenarios, see what happens when they make certain choices, but in a safe environment.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Because it's one thing to read about risk, but to actually see it play out,
Right.
that's a whole other level.
Right. It makes it real.
Okay, so that's proactive. What about the preventative side? What are the things to watch out for in this brave new world of AI education?
Yeah, that's, I think, where it's easy to get caught up in the excitement, right? But we have to remember AI, it's a tool.
Right.
And like any tool, it can be used in ways that are good and ways that are,
Not so good.
yeah.
We've all seen that movie, right?
Exactly. We got to be aware of the downsides and get ahead of them.
So what should we be thinking about specifically as we, navigate this whole thing?
Well, one thing Margalit brings up is making sure these AI tools are being used fairly. We have to think about bias.
Oh, right, in the data.
Yeah, because if the data that's being used to train the AI is flawed, then the AI's output is going to be flawed too. And that can have real consequences.
Absolutely.
So we have to be aware of that and make sure these tools are actually benefiting all students, not just some.
Right, like you said before, it's got to be strategic, thoughtful, not just, oh, shiny new AI, let's use it everywhere, but really thinking about the impact.
Yeah, and that's where critical thinking is so important, or not just for the educators, for the students too. We all need to be asking the tough questions, being skeptical, making sure these tools are being used the right way.
It's a lot to consider, for sure. This has been a really, really insightful conversation, though. We really went beyond just the basics here.
Yeah, it's been great.
So for our listeners out there, if you had to leave them with one thing, just one thing to focus on as they start their own AI learning journey, what would you say?
Honestly, I'd say focus on your own critical thinking skills. That ability to look at information, figure out if it's biased, think about the ethics of it all, that's going to be more valuable than ever.
So true. AI is a tool, and it's up to us to use it wisely. So big thank you to our expert for this deep dive. It's been fantastic. And to our listeners, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.